And welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are going to make something a little bit different. We are going to do a tri-fold card, but it's also going to be a tag tri-fold stand-up card idea that I had. So we need a piece of cardstock, and I've chosen a green. I think it's garden green. It might be a green that goes with the Forever Greenery designer series paper, and that'll become clear. And it needs to measure the full length of your cardstock. So for me, that's 11 1/4, and it needs to be cut down to 8 1/4 inches. Okay, so it's the let me take a piece of normal cardstock and then I can show you, because it's easier to show you on that. So if I take a piece of this cardstock, let me just get it out of the drawer. Okay, and you can then see it is the width of the UK A4 cardstock. Okay, if you are in anywhere else, it really doesn't matter on the width size, so use whatever your width size is, but you need to cut the length down to it comes to 11 and 1/2 and 1/8. Whatever your standard A4 sheet of cardstock, that is exactly the size that we're using, because I thought it would be good to use just a standard sheet and work it round that way, if that makes sense. Bit of a faff, but yeah. So just take your standard sheet of cardstock. We are going to score it at 1/2 inch all the way down. We're then going to score it at 4 inches. We're then going to score it at 7 1/2 inches. And we're going to score it at 11 inches. So what it's given us is 3 panels which are 3 1/2 inches with 2 1/2 inches either side. Then we're going to turn it, doesn't really matter which way, and you are going to score it at 2 inches all the way down. Okay, so we'll just repeat that so you can see it again. 1/2 inch, 4 inches, 7 1/2 inches and 11 inches. Turn it and score it at 2 inches. Okay, now that's all the scoring that we need to do. Let me just put this one out the way. And then you need a bone folder, and we are going to score and burnish. So we can turn and take the bottom piece up and, let's say, give it a good burnish. And then we're going to do it on to the sides. And I'm going to do the larger pieces first. And we're going to have one folding out. And then we're going to turn it round and we're going to have the other folding the other way. So it gives us a concertina. Okay. Give that a burnish. And then we're going to do our little pieces. I sort of saved them to last. These have got to go inwards onto the back. So we're just going to burnish those ones down. And on the opposite side, it needs to go inwards. So we'll do it. And this one is a little bit bigger, but it doesn't really matter because obviously your cardstock is a little bit over the 11.5. So it comes like, let me turn it round. So when it opens, it's going to come like that. We've got this piece at the bottom, and this piece at the bottom is going to fold upwards. Okay, so we've got this piece folding upwards. Burnish that along. Okay, and then we can fold it in again on here. It makes it easier to do it that way. And then we've got this piece that's got to be folded in that way. So it's just this little corner piece here that needs to be folded in. Okay, because then that gives us that little fold in on the pocket. This one is going to go that way, that one is going to go that way. So we can tuck it all in together and make sure that we've got it as squared up as we can. So squared up on there, squared up on there, and then we can just again burnish it down like that. And the reason that I've done this at the side is because what it does is it then gives where we want our little pocket to go. It allows us to have this piece, rather than gluing it down, it just folds back, and it gives a little extra bit of stability doing it that way, a little bit of extra stability on that side. Okay, now we might have to just do a bit of a mitre on there. It might be a bit thick, but I think it'll probably work. Okay, so we can then do some matting on there. Now I have taken from, I've already cut this, but I'll do the measurements for you. So I have taken this from the, get the paper back in on here, I'm using lots of this. It is the Forever Greenery Designer Series paper. It's absolutely lovely. It's got the most gorgeous, gorgeous colours in there, all different greens, all different sort of ferny type pieces, and that's what we're using. Now I'm just going to get my exact measurements for you, because I've cut the Designer Series paper needs to be 1/8 of an inch smaller, and if you've got a running pattern, cut it so that the pattern comes perfectly. So we are going to have, I'm going to do it, let's make sure I've got it the right way around. That goes in on there. Yes, I have. Okay, so you're going to have one piece which is going to go in on here with 1/8 of an inch border, and then this other piece is going to go on the top. And if you cut it in the same direction with your 1/8 of an inch, your pattern will run up. So that's what we want to try and achieve. This is going to measure, this piece measures, this piece measures 3 3/8, so it's 1/8 of an inch smaller, by 6 1/8. And this piece is the 3 3/8 by 1 7/8. So this was 2 inches, and you want to come down by 1/8 of an inch. So everything comes down 1/8 of an inch. You're happy measuring it 1/8 of an inch, it's fine. If not, screenshot those, because it's 3 3/8 by 6 1/8, 3 3/8 by 1 7/8. Okay, so we can now glue these pieces in, the cardstock in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do each piece at a time, because I want to marry it up on each one. So I'm going to take these, that's going to be my bottom piece, because I want to make sure that each piece runs along on the seam piece. So this piece is going to go in on here, because that matches up with that paper. That's going to go on there, and then this one is going to go on there, and this one is going to go on there. So I need to keep those pieces at the bottom. I'm going to turn this out and back, and then we can put those down. So where am I going to put those so they don't get in the way? I'm just going to move them out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to use, to glue this down with, our the new Seal Plus, because I'm finding that this one is actually quite good. So let's take our first piece. I'm going to have to put these, right, 1, 2, 3. This is the first one, and the other one's going to go back on there. So let's have a go at doing this, because this has been working quite well for me. So we need to, oh, maybe it's not. Yes, it is. Whoops. Because I don't like using too much glue. I tend to be quite frugal with my glue, and with the snail you could do just little bits, whereas this one you can as well, because it's a totally different type of adhesive than the Seal, because it's got little, I don't know whether you can see it, but it's got little perforated lines, so it means that you don't get that sort of stickiness coming on. Okay, so we've now got to get this in as straight as we can. So let me just get, it's got to come up 1/8 of an inch here at the top. I'm doing it at the side because my light is right in the way, but that is going to give us the 1/8 of an inch down like that. So that's the first one. Let's do the second one. But you see, I like this one because it just seems to, you don't need to move it round like the other one did. And maybe it's because it was my first my first one, but this certainly seems to be a lot easier. A little bit on there. So I'm working with this one and having a go at this, and then we'll go back to the other one and see if my technique has improved. Okay, excuse my head if it comes in, because I want to try and get this exactly in the right space on here and bring it down. It should be fine. And then we'll just take the last piece. And I've chosen this paper because it's not quite as busy as the others, because when we come to do the tags, and this video is going to be in, I'm going to do it in 2 parts, because we'll make the holder, which you could have as a card, today, and then we'll come back and do the tags, which will take a little more time, on my normal video for Tuesday. So it'll give you a chance to get this one made, and you don't have to use these papers if you don't want. You can use whatever you want, but we'll do this bit first, and then we'll have do the tags in afterwards. Okay, so those pieces are like that. Now we can fold this up, and these are going to go in underneath. And I've just got to make sure that, yes, that matches that one. So this is going to go in on here. So we can just add this in. And it's like everything, you know, I do it real time because I'm not the fastest in the world, but it gives you exactly how to do it and how long it's likely to take you. So yes, I'm quite impressed with this one. I think it's a lot easier than the other. Okay, so this again is the 1/8 of an inch. So let's make sure we've got that in lined up like that. This one, I'm just double checking each one. Yep, that's that one on there. Although once you've turned it over, it is going to be just a little bit, it's not going to pattern match exactly, but it's from the same piece, so I want it to be the run through. So we'll put this one on here. And I say, take your time. Don't need to rush it. I want to try and make it look as beautiful as we can. So yeah, they do occasionally stick, but not as much as the other one. So as I say, I'm quite impressed with this. This is obviously stickier than the other one, or stronger than the other one, which is good for 3D projects. So let's just get that one in like that. And they should all be lined up. Okay, so now that's that paper all on there. Now, what we need to do is we need to just create a little, we're going to have the tags in there. I just want to have a little tiny piece to make the tags come out easier when we get them out. And we need to do this before we sort of put everything together. So I've got, this is a 1 3/4 inch punch, but it really doesn't matter which one it is. Because all you're wanting to do is to just do a little sort of thumb piece in here. So I'm eyeballing it in the center, and I'm just going to do, I don't need to do a big one, I just want a little tiny bit like that. So I think that'll work like that, and then do exactly the same on here. So eyeball it in the center, just a little one, don't want it too big. Whoops. And do exactly the same on there. So eyeball it in the center. If you want to measure it, you can do, but I'm just doing a little nip like that. Okay, I think they should be about right. Let's take all those little tiny pieces out the way because we don't need them. Pop them in the bin. But whatever punch you've got, you can do different shapes if you want to. But then when we fold it up, you've just got a little piece that that makes it easier to take it through. Now, we're going to put these down on this side like this. Now, I'm just a little bit concerned that this is going to be a little bit too thick on here. So, I just want it single-sided. So what am I going to do on here? Okay, let's take, I'm going to take a pencil. So I always do these things sort of on the hoof so you can see how I do it. So I'm just going to take a pencil line down on here. And I'm going to take a pencil line on the other side like that. And then we are just going to take that piece out. So we don't, and the reason I'm doing that is that you don't have the double bulk. So we're just going to take this piece, make sure that that's going back the right way, in on there. Yes, that should be. Let me see, I'm just going to cut it down once to see, because I don't want to completely ruin it. So that's going to go up there. Yes, that's fine, that's what we need to do. Okay, so this, we're just going to take this piece off. You could try it with it on, but I'm just concerned it's going to be just a little bit too bulky. So we need to take it as straight as we can down on there. Okay. And you're probably going to all turn around and say to me, oh, there's a better way of doing that. And that's fine. If you can suggest a better way of doing it, then that's fine. I just tend to do what sort of makes sense to me. And as I say, I don't want to have that double bulk, because that is then going to just not work very well. So just cutting this up so that this runs. You could cut the whole lot up if you wanted to, but I don't want to do that because I want that extra stability just on the side. So all I'm doing, as I say, is just taking out that piece. So we've only got one thickness rather than two. Okay, so have I got that out? Yes, I have. Right, okay, so we can now take this piece up. We've got this piece to come in on here like that, and that piece to come in on here like that, which is fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to do some a little sort of piece on the back, so that can come up like that. We could mitre this just a little bit. Is that going to show? No, I think that should be fine. So you can mitre the sides just a tad if you want to. Let's just do it in case I'm not completely accurate. So we're just going to do a little mitre on there. And just a little mitre on there, because then that'll make that go in. That's fine because we've cut that at a different one. So we can now just put some glue in on here. So I'm just going to take the glue and I can run that all the way down there and down on this bottom one. Like that. And then we can turn and put this one in. So we can fold that flat. And then this bit's going to come in over the top like that. And that will fold flat. Oh, I probably should have done a mitre at the bottom as well, shouldn't I? Is that going to show through? It's all right, but I am going to do just a little tiny mitre. So a little mitre at the bottom. And all that does is just make it a little bit, you know, it's not going to poke through. Okay, so we then just need to do this side on here. So let's just take some glue down on this one and glue down on this one. It's quite good, this glue, because it's very strong. As I say, I do find that you have to try and get it started a little bit sometimes, but for me it's a lot better than the other one, which I had to get started all the time. So we'll see how it goes. So that's going to fold in like that, and that's going to fold in like that, and you obviously have your mitered bit in there like that, and then it's going to stand up. Once we've got it folded, it'll go into an envelope. It's going to stand up like that, which is going to be like that. And then we are going to make some fantastic, exciting tags and things to go in here. So we've got the tags that that run through, and then when you stand it up, you're going to have pretty tags in there. So it's going to be a tag card. So that's part one. And as I say, I will come back and do part two for you. But I hope you found that part fun, and we'll have a go at doing it, and then we'll come back and do some tags. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. As always, stay safe, stay well, and be kind. Bye-bye.